Hello and welcome. Today I'm not on my plot and I'm not in my back garden or front garden. I'm in my parents' garden because I've got a few jobs I need to do. My mum's been staying with me for a couple of weeks. I've brought her back and we've just come back now, and the garden is flourishing, but it's also got a bit out of hand. So I've got a lot of jobs I need to do today. So my first job I need to do is to take down the height on this apple tree that's here. It has self-seeded itself. It's grown like this for the last 5 years. And as far as I'm aware, it hasn't been pruned or anything. It's just been left to itself. My dad has put all this netting around it because he loved little birds, small birds. And he wanted to make sure that the bird feeders were covered from big birds and the little birds could get through and get the food, because he said that the big birds would be able to scrounge food elsewhere, whereas the little birds he wanted to look after. So I need to take off all this netting and then I need to chop down some of the branches. Now, as luck would have it, I have been sent this Supstable cordless mini chainsaw that I will put the links of where you can buy it if you want to buy it online in the description below. And I'm going to try it out today and let you know what I think of it. It'll be an honest review. I've never had a mini chainsaw before, and the last time I was home I did take some of the top branches off this apple tree, but I couldn't reach some of the branches, and this one looks like it's really lightweight and I can lean across quite easily on a ladder without worrying that I'm going to fall, and it should hopefully be just perfect for the job I needed to do. Now, when this arrived in its box, I opened the box to see what was inside it, and I was really pleased to see that there was hardly any excess cardboard there. The chainsaw came in its box and there was just a tiny little bit of paper next to it, and then the cardboard box that this box came in, and that was it. That was all the packaging that there was. So I give them a 10 out of 10 for being environmentally conscious, because I was very impressed with the lack of packaging. For me, it's important because I can just put that cardboard box on my compost heap, and then I can just put this like that on a shelf in my shed, and it's taking up hardly any room. So in that regard, it's really compact and hopefully will do the job I wanted to do. It came with an instruction booklet, and then there was the saw itself, which came with a guard. It had 2 batteries with it and a charger, and I checked the battery and there is a bit of battery for me to use it straight away, and I've put the other battery on to charge, so if this one runs out I can use the other one. It had some spare chain in case the chain on this one ever runs out. It also had a little oil bottle that I can fill with oil, and then I can use this valve here. I can unscrew it and I can fill this with oil, and then the button next to it is a primer, so that will make the oil go down onto the chainsaw so it oils itself as you use it. And I also got a screwdriver for changing the blades over. So I'm really pleased with the box and how it's all looking. I only really need that. I'll take the guard off. I'm just going to take the netting off here now, and then we'll be ready to use the chainsaw. Fingers crossed it works well. I've got as much of the plastic off now as I can get, and hopefully the rest will come down when the branches come down. So let's get the chainsaw and let's make the first cut. Well, it cut through that branch like butter. I put hardly any pressure on it at all because it does have a kickback. So if you put too much pressure on the blade will stall. So it's just like a safety mechanism. So I just, you know, applied like the least amount of pressure I could, and it just went through it so easy. So I'll get on and do the rest of the tree now, and you can see how I get on as I do it. I've taken a lot of the height down now on this apple tree. What the sort of like spindly growth you see now is the jasmine that's sort of wound its way up through the tree. So because I've taken away the jasmine support, it's kind of gone a bit blah. But the tree is much shorter now, and I'm really pleased with that mini chainsaw. Let me show you how it cut through the branches. So here's the pile of branches, and if you look at this really thick branch here, you can see that it's cut through really smoothly, so there's no jaggedness left on the tree, which is a really good cut for the tree. So I'm really pleased with this Supstable Mini Chainsaw. It has done exactly what I want. It's really light as well, which is really handy when you're reaching or stretching. And I'm going to have an easy time now pruning my fruit trees in my garden, and if I grow any trees down my allotment, I'll have an easy time cutting through the thick branches of those trees. So I'll leave the link to where you can buy this in the description below. And all I can say about this mini chainsaw is lovely job, but I'm not going there. We've got plenty more jobs to do around this garden, so let's go and have a look at something else. The next job I need to do is to prune this rose arch, because when this is in bloom it looks fabulous, but at the moment it just needs a dead head and some of these bottom ones taken off because they're drooping down. You can't actually get under the arch without stooping, so let's do something about that. So I'm just going to take it back to where you can see the new growth is coming and snip it there. Same with this one, going all the way back there. Snip it there. I've finished the rose arch now. I've done as much of it as I can. There's just a tiny little bit I can't reach because I can't get the ladder into any position where I can get up there. So that will have to wait, and hopefully I can come up with a solution to get to those bits that I can't reach. But I'm really pleased with it. It looks good, doesn't it? I'm not sure if you can really see the difference on the video, but in real life, as it were, it does look a lot better. Let me show you around the garden. So this is the door to my parents' kitchen. As I come out of the door, I'm struck immediately by a lovely colourful display right here. It's got begonias and snapdragons, a bit of alyssum and some busy lizzies there. And then just up here, there's a small seating area for two, and it's a lovely place to sit in the summer because it doesn't get sunlight, well, you know, it gets light, but it doesn't get direct sunlight until late into the night. So when it's really, really hot in the summer, it's a really nice place to come and sit where it's a bit cooler. And then just as I head up to where you guys are, there's some fuchsias and a bush of some kind. I'm not quite sure what that is. And some pots, but I'll show you the pots as we go up onto the lawn. Just in front of me here is a lovely rockery. It is sort of like a culmination of many years going away on holiday and bringing back little shells and knickknacks, and some of the ornaments here are from what used to be in the house when I was growing up, but there's no space for them now, so they're just out here, and it all works really well. I love the little gnome and the ladybird and the owl that used to have solar eyes that lit up. It's a lovely little area. And then just as you come over here and I come up the steps to get into the garden, there is a beautiful canna here, canna lily. It's quite breathtaking. It's my mum says she's never seen it flower as much as it has this year, which is lovely. And there's also some fuchsias here and some sedums and lavender. My dad's garden was all set up really to be quite self-sufficient because my parents used to go away quite a lot on cruises. So I think when he retired, he sort of turned the garden into like a habitat for wildlife, for the birds and butterflies, and sort of like a lot of what is in the garden is fairly self-reliant. So yes, I'm having to learn as I go because it's all alien to me. So I've kind of left the garden to do its thing this year so I can see what is growing, and then come February we'll have a big cut back of everything that I think should be cut back. But let's continue up onto the lawn. So this is kind of the view you'll see really out of my parents' kitchen window. There's some azalea, I think, here, and a rhododendron. And then on this side, my mum loves tomatoes, as you will have seen from the last video. If you haven't watched it, go and watch it. She loves a good old tomato sandwich, does my mum. But she wanted some tomatoes, so I planted some cherry falls here in some pots. And there's also some antirrhinum and alyssum. And there's some pelargoniums back there with some pelargonium cuttings that my dad took last year. And me and my mum potted up to see if they would come to anything. And they have. So they're giving a lovely display there. Before I went away, I rigged up one of those bags because my mum was a bit anxious that the pots would dry out when she was away. So I rigged up one of those bags I've got. But we are in Wales, so it did rain when we were away. So it didn't really matter if those bags didn't work. They did work, by the way, but it wasn't such a bad thing because, you know, rain and Wales go hand in hand, and I just noticed when I went back down the steps to get you guys, there's also a lovely rose bush growing up high there. It's not meant to be that high. We just didn't get around to cutting it back this year. But we'll cut it back in January, February time this year now. These tomato plants here are starting to put on flowers now, so hopefully it'll only be a matter of time before my mum is enjoying her own tomatoes. I also forgot to mention there's an allium here that is just looking magnificent. So I'm leaving that because it'll give a lovely display in the winter if it lasts that long. And we've also got a dahlia here that I planted for my mum. That's going strong. It's just beginning to come into flower now, which hopefully will add another splash of colour to this area. You will have seen me pruning this rose bush earlier on, so that's looking like a really nice shape to it now, and hopefully it'll give another flash of colour. My mum said one year they had flowers on it in December because it was a mild winter, so that will all be cut back in January, February time when we're sure there's no flowers left to come. And then this is the main border that my dad had. My mum has planted a few things in pots. She finds pots manageable, I think, and we've kind of left a lot of the planting in. Well, my mum has weeded a lot because there was absolutely loads of carpet of forget-me-nots, and me and my mum weeded them. We've left some in because they are lovely, but it was a real carpet of forget-me-nots, and it was like drowning out a lot of things. So I pulled them out with her yesterday, and now we're left to see the lovely begonias that are here in the pots. There's also a morning glory obelisk over there which I planted for her, and I can see there are flowers now coming on the morning glory, but I don't think it's sunny enough for them to really open up yet, but fingers crossed they will soon. Down here is a little rose bush that one of my mum's friends gave her after my dad passed away, as a like remembrance of him. So that was swamped out as well, but we've unearthed that now. And then my dad's naked lady back there. I'm not going much into that. And then over on this side we've got the flash of orange from the crocosmia, and we've also got the red crocosmia. So it's very colourful. I just need to thin out the crocosmia really, because it flops over onto the path, and when my mum is taking the peelings up to the compost bin, it's, if it's rained, then she just gets covered with rainwater because it's all over the pathway. So I just need to thin that out. As I come through the arch now, because I can walk under it, we come out to see the red crocosmia this side. It's a lovely, lovely colour red. It's really bright. Then over here, hidden under here, is a bird feeding drink station. I'll probably need to cut back some of that ivy. And right here is a lovely buddleia just underneath the apple tree that I looked after yesterday. So that is sort of what this area is all about. It's about attracting pollinators and being able to feed them and everything. And then towards the back of the garden, we've got a lovely jasmine arch here. I do need to trim this back because it's going to end up breaking the support if I don't. There's quite a lot of weight in this now. So I will do a summer prune on it. It has flowered, so I'll do a small summer prune on it to try and just take some of the weight out of it, and then give it a good old prune back in the winter. And my dad had some ferns here. He liked ferns. I think he tried to grow hostas, but there's so many slugs here because it's so wet a lot of the time that he found the hostas just didn't work. So he swapped to growing ferns, I believe, and they're doing well. I'm not really sure what you do with ferns, but they seem to be quite content to just do their own thing. And then there's an olive tree here that my sister bought my dad. So I'm not sure what's going to happen with the olive tree really. And again, this area here, which is just underneath the apple tree, it's been a bit trampled on now from when I was doing the apple tree yesterday, and some of the carpet of forget-me-nots that were here has been taken out, but it's still set up for the birds and bees. So there's sedums, lavender, alyssum, busy lizzies, poppies, yellow poppies. My mum always wants to grow red poppies here. My dad has tried for years, but they just don't take for some reason. She even had him to transplant some poppies from up with us where we had some red ones growing, and it just didn't take in the garden. So I don't know why, but you know, certain gardens have that, don't they? That some things grow in some gardens and some things don't grow in other gardens. But it's looking good. It's looking good. We weren't sure what to expect when we came back, but everything has grown well. And now I'm just behind the jasmine arch. So there's my dad's shed where he used to keep budgies, but he hasn't kept budgies for years. But this is the area that needs an awful lot of work come the winter, because everything is really overgrown here. You can hardly see the water feature that's just behind me, and you can't get up onto the patio that's there either, because things have just overgrown. I think my dad, like most people, would have cut everything back in February, but he was no longer here to do it, so I didn't know what was what. So now I know we can, you know, cut it back this coming winter. But if we just go up to the back now, we're almost there with the tour. I'll just take you handheld from now on, because there's not much room to get the angles on the tripod. Yes, there is the hidden water feature, and there is the hidden patio. So I've got this huge bush here that needs cutting back, but it'll get done eventually. And then if you come up to here, there's some more of my dad's ferns, and then my mum put these little impatiens in here, busy lizzies, and they add a really lovely pop of colour, because just behind the greenhouse now where we are is the back gate, and my dad used to have his car there. It used to be like a little carport there, and when you come in through the back gate and walk around, the colour of the busy lizzies really hit you. And my mum never did anything in the garden really, because my dad used to do everything. So this is the first year really she's had any sort of input into doing the garden. So she was really anxious, well, not anxious, but you know, she didn't want the busy lizzies to die when we were away. But as you can see, they have survived and they are doing a really lovely job. So if you're watching this, ma'am, well done. They look great. And then just up from the busy lizzies is my dad's greenhouse. So there's his compost heap there. I need to go through that when I'm down for a bit longer, because there'll be some compost right at the bottom here that can go on his garden. He's got another shed here that he built, the back door I was talking about earlier. And then in here at the moment it's not sort of like growing very much in here, because, well, my mum is away a lot, so she doesn't want to grow things that need a lot of looking after. But what was in here and still is my dad's cactus collection, because he really loved cactus. And I don't know much about them, but I don't know if they're looking very good. This one did flower earlier this year, the one behind, but I'm not really sure when or where or if you should feed them. But I have been feeding them sort of once a month. Whenever I come home, really, I give them a drop of water. And I don't think my mum is watering them, so I don't think they're getting overwatered. So that seems to be keeping them going at the moment. But I do need to look into how to look after these cactus, or find someone who, you know, loves cactus and would look after them better. Well, I really hope you've enjoyed looking around my dad's garden with me today and looking at the jobs I've been doing. I would, if you're looking for a chainsaw, a mini one, I would really recommend that variety from Supstable. I was very impressed with it. It was so lightweight as well, that and it did the job so perfectly that I would recommend you get that if you know, if you're looking for it for a chainsaw. And hopefully I'll catch you next time, where maybe I'll be on my plot, or maybe I'll be back in this garden doing other things, but hopefully there'll be a bit more veg in the next one, because that's what I'm all about. All I can say about my work today is lovely job, and I'm really pleased to have got some of the jobs done in my mum's garden just to help her along a bit. Take care everybody, catch you next time hopefully.